Good evening. It is 6:31. Welcome to the Unit 5 Board of Education meeting. The board was previously in closed session, and so I need a motion to return to the public meeting, or to come to public meeting, please.
Madam President, I motion that we return to public hearing, or public meeting.
And can I have a second?
Second.
And can I have a vote on the motion to return to public session?
Adams,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Dehi,
Yes.
Dozier,
Yes.
Roser,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Pyle.
Yes, we are now in public meeting. If you would please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, our first item of business tonight is the public hearing on the amended budget. This is the budget that was actually presented on our May 17th meeting. But in order to have a public hearing, I need a roll call for hearing any comments on the amended budget. So if I could get a roll call, please, for the public hearing.
Adams,
Present.
Coleman,
Present.
Dehi,
Present.
Dozier,
Present.
Roser,
Present.
Williams,
Present.
Pyle.
Present. At this time, I'd like to ask if there was any written correspondence that was submitted to the district on this public hearing. Okay. Are there any members of the public who are present and would like to speak specifically about the public hearing on the amended budget? You do not have to sign up for public comments, but you must make your comments specific to the amended budget. And I'm going to ask 3 times. Is there anyone who would like to make comments on the amended budget? And finally, last time, any comments about the amended budget? Seeing none, I'll ask my board members, do you have any comments on the amended budget that was provided at our May 17th meeting? Seeing no comments, I'll just turn to you, Marty, to see if there's any additional comments you'd like to make regarding that amended budget.
Only just to emphasize that the numbers this evening for the action item amended budget are the same numbers that we did discuss, and there was a presentation at the May meeting. So there were no changes from that time.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no comments from the public or from the board, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Madam President, I motion to adjourn the public hearing.
And can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Can I get a vote, please?
Adams,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Dehi,
Yes.
Dozier,
Yes.
Roser,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Pyle.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on, we're going to focus on students and good news reports. Our first good news report is presented tonight, Parkside Elementary.
Dr. Weichel, Board of Education. In 2020, Parkside Elementary was operating with failed building controls and below average indoor air quality. The total utilities for 2020 totaled $61,629.85. In 2022, Unit 5 upgraded the building mechanicals and building automation. The upgrade resulted in optimal indoor air quality and comfortable building temperatures. More importantly, Parkside is our second building this year to become ENERGY STAR certified. This year, Parkside has ENERGY STAR score of 83, ranking the building in the top 17 percentile for energy savings. Parkside's total utilities for this year totaled $37,292.98. This is a 40% decrease in utilities. Thank you to the Board of Education for your support in our energy savings programs. Thank you to the staff of Parkside Elementary for their patience during this project. And thank you to Christina Ellis for your help during this project. I present to you the Energy Star Award.
Thank you. Thank you. I continue to be impressed with what our facilities staff has done to make our buildings more energy efficient, and certainly appreciate the cost savings that has gone along with it. So thank you for recognizing our next building as Energy Star compliant. That's great news. Other good news reports that we have for tonight are staff introductions. So for that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Weichel.
Good evening. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce 3 administrators, 1 new to Unit 5 and 2 moving to different positions. So first, I want to ask Amy Oxerart if she can come forward. Amy is joining us as the principal of Parkside Junior High next school year. And Amy's in her 19th year as an educator, including 5 years as an administrator in a district across town from us. And she's a graduate of Illinois State University with a degree in history education, a master's in teaching and learning, a master's in educational administration and foundation, and she continues her learning at Illinois State through the doctoral program in educational administration and expects to complete her dissertation next spring. Amy resides in Bloomington with her 3 children, and her hobbies include reading, watching scary movies, and traveling with her family to Disney. So Amy, welcome, and if you want to say a few words, that would be wonderful.
Thank you for having me this evening. I am just over the moon excited to join Unit 5 and the Parkside Junior High family. It's been a long time coming, and I'm just very, very excited to be here. I have, since receiving the offer for this position, everybody in Unit 5, both at the district level and at the building level, staff, families have reached out and have been so welcoming. I feel very, very welcomed already, and I can't wait to start this adventure here at Parkside Junior High. Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited for your official start date. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce a familiar face, Kelly Fitzgerald. Kelly has been selected as the principal of Carlock Elementary for the 23-24 school year, pending board approval. She's in her 20th year as an educator, including working at the collegiate and high school levels. This past year, she's been the associate principal at Shittix Junior High School. She's a 2001 grad of St. Xavier University. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Social Sciences and a Master's in Educational Administration. In her free time, she enjoys spending time with her husband, John, and her 2 children. So welcome, Kelly, and
Thank
you're
you.
welcome to say a few words.
I'm just really grateful for this experience that I've had here in Unit 5 this year. I've only been here a year, Amy, and they are amazing here in Unit 5. Tons of support at the district and building level and across buildings. So I'm just really grateful that I can continue this role, and I can continue the role at Carlock and help Carlock shine to be the best that it can be. So thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Yes.
Also, you said my family, I forgot. My family has been so supportive. They're sitting right over there. I love them, and they're great. So thank you.
And actually, if your family wants to stand, Amy, I can't see where you're sitting if you have anyone with you, but if you do, they're welcome to stand as well. Yeah, they can stand up. Educators, we know that our families give up a lot of family time for us to do the job and serve, our students in not only our buildings, but across the district. So thank you to your families. And last but not least, it's my pleasure to invite Monica Wilkes to the podium. Monica has been selected as the new Director of Human Resources for Unit 5, pending board approval tonight. Monica's worked in the field of HR for 16 years and has been with us in Unit 5 since 2017. She's currently the HR manager, where she's actively engaged in recruiting, hiring, employee relations, and training. She previously worked as an HR director at the YWCA, as well as at the Four Seasons Association. A graduate of Illinois State University, Monica earned a Bachelor of Science in Political Science and has her Master's in Public Administration. She's achieved the Senior Certified Professional Certification with the Society of Human Resource Management and serves on the Board of Directors for the Bloomington-Normal Human Resource Council. In her free time, Monica enjoys spending time with her daughter and being her biggest cheerleading at her competitive sporting events. So welcome, Monica.
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Weichel, for the opportunity to express my enthusiasm and my gratitude for this new adventure. Thank you to you and for the committee for selecting me. As you know, HR is a passion of mine, and over the past 6 years, I've strengthened my belief that each and every Unit 5 employee deserves to feel a great sense of respect, dignity, and belonging. And our HR department should be an example of that. As I like to say to our new hires at orientation, at Unit 5, you, our staff, are our biggest resource, and I believe that to be true. It will be an honor to lead a team who will work to recruit the best and brightest, nurture our current talent, and develop future leaders in the K-12 education space. While our staff are taking care of our students, our goal in HR is to take care of our staff. I'm inheriting a very talented team. Shout out to Megan, Stacy, Becky, Hannah, and our intern Miriam. And I will be surrounded and supported by outstanding leaders of the district, and I'm thankful to the members of our Board of Education who each of you are invested in seeing us move our strategic vision forward. I look forward to doing great work together. I have a future educator with me tonight, my daughter Miranda, and she is watching me, and to whom I want to make her very proud. So I also hope to make all of you proud of both me and the HR department, and a special thanks to my family and friends for all of their love and support. Thank you.
So we need Miranda to stand up to be recognized as well. And Miranda, you may need to call HR to get a contract, so when you do have your teaching degree, we have you ready to go, okay? So welcome to all of our new administrators or administrators moving to new admin positions. We look forward to working with you this next year.
I also want to extend my congratulations and welcome to those staff introductions. We're so pleased that you're here. The board is going to continue with the rest of their business meeting. If you have come for the good news reports, certainly we understand if this is a time that you need to leave. We just ask that you would exit quietly while the board continues the rest of their business meeting. And so at this time, I will turn it over again to Dr. Weichel for superintendent comments, please.
All right. Good evening. I hope everyone's enjoying their summer so far and staying cool. Believe it or not, summer school is underway for more than 950 students across the district. We have students in grades pre-K through 8 focusing on literacy, math, and social emotional learning. Students in grades 9 through 12 are working on credit recovery, and our special education extended school year is focusing on students' individual goals. Each of these programs run through the end of June. This year, Unit 5 is pleased to be the recipient of the Freedom Schools Grant, from the Illinois State Board of Education, which allows us to run Freedom Schools this summer through July. The grant is a multicultural enrichment program focused on literacy, civic engagement, and STEAM activities for middle school age students. So we're very excited to be offering that this year and look forward to hopefully future years of receiving the funding as well. Additionally, Unit 5 is providing free meals to anyone age 18 or younger this summer. Breakfast is available at Cedar Ridge Elementary from 8:15 to 9 a.m., and lunch is available from 11 to 12, Monday through Friday through June 30th. Chittix Junior High is also serving breakfast and lunch Monday through Thursday through July 20th. And then lunch is available at the Unity Community Center from 11:30 to 12:30 through mid-July. Adults wishing to purchase a breakfast or lunch may do so, but need to pay in cash. Then, of course, this summer is always a busy time for our custodial and maintenance staff. They're busy doing their normal summer cleaning, which may include moving some teachers from one classroom to another, replacing HVAC filters, and doing preventative maintenance on our kitchen appliances. Additionally, our in-house team is completing over 115 projects across the district this summer. And so that's pretty incredible in its own sense, but to know that we only have 48 working days this summer to complete all of that is really incredible. And of course, that includes staff being on vacation part of that time too, using some vacation days. So just a shout out, thank you to our operations and maintenance staff for all you do to get our buildings ready for the start of the school year, plus this additional in-house work, which allows us to save district funds. And then, of course, I wish I wasn't saying this, but of course, we are still looking to fill some positions for the 23-24 school year. Monica's smiling like, yes, thank you for plugging us. We are specifically looking for individuals who might be interested in serving as a paraeducator, which is like a teaching assistant, an EOP, which is similar to an administrative assistant, custodial, general education, and special education teaching positions. And then we are always looking for individuals interested or willing to serve as a sub, whether it be a substitute teaching assistant, substitute nurse, substitute custodian, substitute teacher. Any position you can imagine we need a sub for, we're looking. Our HR department will be holding some on-site job fairs again this summer. Those went over really well last year. So look on our district website and our Unit 5 Facebook page for more information about dates and times. And then finally, June is also a month where we commemorate equity and inclusion of individuals and groups of people. Unit 5 is recognizing and celebrating Pride Month this June to support our LGBTQ students, families, and staff, and to encourage others to honor our diverse community. This is a part of the strong commitment to equity and inclusion, and to ensure all students, families, and staff feel welcome, respected, supported, and valued. And that concludes my comments this evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wyko. We are now at the public comments portion of our board meeting. This portion of the meeting allows members of the public to express their interest in our schools, but to operate this portion of our meeting effectively, please let me review the expectations if you haven't been to our board meeting. Our expectations are that speakers would conduct themselves with civility towards others. We ask that speakers respect the right and privacy of individuals. This is particularly important when we refer to students. When your name is called, we'll ask you to come to the podium. Once you're recognized by the presiding officer, we'll ask you to please state and spell your name before presenting your comments. Comments should be directed to the entire board, not an individual board member, staff member, or directed towards the audience. Each of you will have the opportunity who have signed up for public comments to speak for 3 minutes. Your time will begin after you have stated and spelled your name. When your 3 minutes have elapsed, I will ask you to wrap up your comments within the next sentence. If you have written copies of your comments, you're welcome to provide it to our board clerk, Emily. While the board will listen to your comments and take your views into consideration, we will not respond to public comments during this meeting. Questions and concerns may be referred to administration for a response at a later time. And with that, we'll begin our public comment session. Our first public commenter is Andrea Gutierrez.
My name is Andrea Gutierrez, A-N-D-R-E-A, G-U-T-I-E-R-R-E-Z. Hello again, board members. I spoke with you previously at the last board meeting that was held in May regarding safety concerns at Hoos. I also listened to other concerned parents and grandparents While they shared their personal stories, some of which I thought were very hard to listen to, concerning the trauma their children have been trying to deal with. Despite mine and others' pleas for improved safety, improved communications, and improved policies to protect our students and staff, we have heard nothing. We were counting on the board to help address our concerns and improve the safety. Instead, I feel like the situation is being swept under the rug. Instead of providing guidance to parents how to talk to our children and help them through scary situations, you are complacent and causing more confusion and fear. The only communication I have received is from lawyers who reached out to me about a Facebook post. On May 16th, only first grade parents were sent an email about disruptive, inappropriate, and frightening behaviors that many first graders witnessed. Despite the dismissive tone of the email, first grade parents were told that the safety of students and staff are of utmost importance and that we will continue to work with our students to support them in any way we can. While I've heard nothing of any support to our students, was this an unwritten disclaimer that you would only support the students until school is out and then wipe your hands of the situation? Children are still traumatized. Some kids are having nightmares. Some kids are even afraid to play at playgrounds. So although you may have wiped your hands of it, it is still ingrained in our children. You have allowed our children to become traumatized, and you have ruined a lot of trust with parents. Safety protocols and communications need to be improved. I feel like I must stress that although it seemed like isolated incidents that brought this to parents' attention, it has been noticed that it is an entire school issue, and it is not focused on any particular students. I have also been reached out to many people at other schools stating they also have issues. So this seems to be a training, procedure, and communications shortfall district-wide. Please improve the training and your procedures. And when you do, please reach out to parents with the communications so you can work on regaining our trust. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Our next public commenter is Eric Beckner.
Good evening. My name is Eric Beckner, E-R-I-K, B-E-C-K-N-E-R. To start, have to start again. We love our teachers. We adore them. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. We see them around. We love them. We're on their side. We're on our students' side. I loved your guys' statement, the HR director, about equity. That's what we're all about. To start, our goal in speaking before the board and the community at large is to promote an equitable learning environment for all students across Unit 5. When we last spoke about this issue, the board avoided addressing it under the guise of confidentiality. We seek to clarify that we are not interested in personal or confidential student information. Our interests lie solely in improving the response to incidents of violence and harassment in the schools and improving communications with parents by ensuring schools are following district policies and district protocols are sufficiently robust and legally sound. As a little bit of background, members of the student body at Colleen Hoos have repeatedly used inappropriate speech, physical touch, made threats of violence, and have fashioned or brought weapons onto school property in violation of school policies. We recognize that parents are not entitled to information about actions taken with specific students. However, the continuation in these behaviors and lack of communication lead to the conclusion that the appropriate steps have not been taken to stop the behavior or to redress harm. The parents of Colleen Hoos collectively demand the school board immediately engage in an independent review of the response reported incidents of violence and harassment, as well as the district's policies and staff training. The review should be conducted by an independent expert in educational policy and civil rights, with the results of the review being shared publicly to promote transparency and accountability amongst all. The review would be a benefit to the entire district by ensuring policies, training, and incident responses are equitable and legally sound. We have to get this right. Plain and simple. We have to get this right for our kids, our teachers, and everyone who graces our schools. We have to protect the most vulnerable by providing a safe, equitable learning environment. We have to identify our weaknesses as a whole, parents' weaknesses, district weaknesses, school weaknesses, so we can grow. There are no easy fix nor answers, but together we can improve the process and restore some faith along the way. It is our hope that the events of Who's act as a catalyst for growth and change, and we look forward to the district's participation and action. And I will mirror what the previous speaker said. After I spoke at that last school board meeting, I got more hugs, fist bumps. You're the guy. I saw you. The teachers have something to say. You guys got to listen to them. You got to listen to them. There is an epidemic undercurrent of fear in this district. This place is not packed with teachers because the teachers feel if they speak, they're isolated. This is not a Hoos issue. This is a district issue. There are undercurrents. You cannot rely on social media to spread information around Bloomington Normal. We are too big of a community. There are too many parents that are concerned. You have to open up the lines of communication, and an independent investigation is the best cause to start that. Thank you for your time and your action again.
Our next public speaker, Will Gudeman.
Good evening. Will Gudeman, Willgudeman. I appreciate the time again to speak. I was here a month ago also speaking with other concerned parents, and my topic a month ago was about rumors and the lack of even any attempt to control the narrative. We can't stop rumors, but there's just still no attempt to even control what the narrative is. We understand, and I'm echoing previous speakers as well, that there's information that we are not privy to. No problem. I'm not asking for anything like that. I'm concerned about my daughter. She's going into second grade next year. I am concerned about her. I am concerned about her feeling safe at school. So as I have not seen any communication, I've not heard anything, and and I know a number of people. I have a number of friends whose kids go to Colleen Hoos. Nothing. Silence. Crickets. So I'm going to tell you the latest rumor that I'm aware of, that staff and teachers have been pulled aside, talked to, questioned. I won't go as far as saying, I won't go any further than saying questioned, but it's my understanding that some of them fear retribution by not even being here or not talking, not saying anything. There appears to be a culture of fear that is just being promoted, whether it's something that's always been there, or it's status quo, or it's something new, I don't know. But when the teachers are afraid, when staff is afraid, I mean, HR director is going to be busy hiring a whole lot more teachers. And in fact, if this rumor is true, and if staff and teachers have been threatened with their jobs or retribution in any way, shape, or form, then I'm glad the new HR director is here. She's got one thing to add to her list for the next school year. That is all I have. Again, I appreciate your time, and I do appreciate it. I understand you all. I have a lot of things going on with the district and a lot of decisions to be made. I appreciate you listening to us and our concerns about our children's safety. Thank you.
The next public speaker is Megan Toon.
Hello. My name is Megan Toon, M-E-G-A-N, last name T-O-O-N. When I attended K through 12 at Unit 5, I was completely oblivious to the bigger issues that I heard other people talk about. But now I'm a few years past graduation, a few years into being a mom and having to deal with these bigger issues. When we bought our house 2 years ago, we looked for a house in Unit 5 district because it was supposed to be the best education in a safe environment. Now that my daughter started school, I'm really starting to question that decision. There's things going on that don't match my expectation. I've been very attuned to the situation concerning the child with behavioral issues. Those issues are not insignificant. Boys will be boys' actions. They're a clear and present danger. While I get that each child has their own unique needs and there may be things that the school is just not able to do, that will be of no comfort when another teacher or child is injured. Based on public comments made, you know the situation exists. You know how serious it is, yet you continue to place the safety of not only my child and the other children at the school, but also the Hoos staff at a much lower priority. Can any of you explain why? Hoos has been reactionary at best with all of the major issues that have come up in the 2023 school year. I'm referencing the child that was hit by a car in front of the school because there was nothing done to plan ahead for the construction issues. But the new park is the ultimate example. Unit 5 in the town of Normal are quoted in the Panagraph bragging about the new nature park, yet there have been multiple PTO meetings where recess supervisors talk about the lack of visibility from the sprawling hills as a safety concern. The next time you walk through the park giving an interview to a press outlet, please take a second to look at how many blind spots there are and ask what could happen. Will it be assault from another student? Will it be a child who wanders into the street where one was hit by a car? Will it be something worse from a stranger who can just wander into the public space unchecked? Will the understaffed supervisors be responsible to both watch the children and guard 15 acres? As parents, we care about these things, but your inaction tells me that you don't. Again, can you explain why? Unit 5 came out to the PTOs in the community and asked us to support their referendum, which clearly we did. That support was based, at least for me, on the belief that some portion of the money would be used to address these issues and make Unit 5 better. At the last board meeting, one paraprofessional said that one person's doing the work of 2 or more. Is that safe? Is any of the money going to be used to hire more staff? Help them. Maybe you have a plan, maybe you're doing something to make things better, maybe my fears for safety for our children are unfounded, but how would I know? There's no communication from the board and minimal communication from HOOS. There's just what I can scrounge up from talking to other parents in the words of my 6-year-old daughter. If you think that's acceptable, please tell me why. My message tonight is clear. I don't feel my child is safe, which is bad, and I don't feel like you care, which is definitely worse. It's becoming more clear with every incident, every concern, every inaction that you're just not going to do anything about it. That approach goes beyond unacceptable and is becoming negligent. I feel strongly about these issues, and I really hope that you guys are doing something more than just listening. Thank you.
And our final public speaker for tonight, Danielle Gudeman.
Hello, Danielle Gudeman, DanielleGudeman. I'm speaking tonight regarding the safety and well-being of my children and all children at HOOS, as well as the staff there. When we last approached the board, we spoke of our frustration and our anger towards the handling of a potentially dangerous student and the multiple situations that this student put our children and our staff in, as well as the absence of communication to parents and caregivers about these situations. Parents still have not received any communication or updates on this issue since we last spoke, but I do hope since we met last, you've come together and decided on actions to take and policies to implement to keep students safe and parents informed of future situations like these, while of course still maintaining the privacy of the students involved. If you have not done this yet, I'm asking you to please do so now, and to also please let parents know of these changes and of your plans, and to also please keep parents updated as the plans develop and change over the course of time. As other parents have stated this evening, there is absolutely a trust issue now with administration, and we look forward to the steps you'll take to regain and rebuild that trust. My daughter was directly affected by incidents at the end of the school year, and she's already asked me if she has to worry about or be fearful of any students or situation when school resumes in the fall. Please help me calm her fears as well as my own. Please take action to keep parents better informed, and please support our children and our staff to help keep them safe. Thank you.
And that concludes the public comment session of our meeting. Our next item is reports, and we'll begin with the Unit 5 Foundation Annual Report by Dana Brown.
Good evening. I am really excited to have our Unit 5 Educational Foundation, Jeff Mavros, here, and he is going to do the presentation tonight. But I just want to say, as the administrator that works with the foundation, we have an amazing group of people who are advocating for the students of Unit 5. They have done such a tremendous job, and I don't want to take any of Jeff's thunder, but his leadership has just been incredible. So I'm going to invite him up here and hand over the clicker, and I'll be right over there in case there's any questions.
Thank you, Dana. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. As Dana said, my name is Jeff Mavros. I am the president of the Unit 5 Educational Foundation Board, and it came to our attention that we hadn't addressed this group in a while, and so while you say annual update or annual report, I think that's generous. So we're going to try to do a little bit better about being semi-regular with some of these updates. So in the next 78 slides, I'm going to attempt to tell you kind of where we are, and it won't be that. So a quick introduction for anybody that's unfamiliar. The foundation has been around since 2012, established as a 501c3. We're a non-for-profit fundraising organization to support district-wide initiatives. That can range from technology to learning experiences outside of the classroom to scholarships and everything in between. As Dana alluded to, we have a pretty great working active board. We've had some fresh blood and some new energy of late, and I think the foundation is going in a great direction. We had a really nice foundation, I shouldn't use that word, but a great start to kind of launch us, but we've added some new folks that bring different perspectives from all across the community and great professional experience to help us get to where we want to go. And so you're taking a look at our membership there on the slide and probably some familiar names to all of you on the board. Current state, we have just under $70,000 to our name, and we're working with Dr. Weichel and the district to identify some needs that we can implement really across all the schools in the district. And I'm happy to say that we're seeing increasing activity and success, frankly, in some of our fundraising efforts, and I want to talk a little bit about that in these next couple of slides. So here are some of the things that we are doing that are relatively new to the board, and one is for the last 2 years we've done a 5K run and walk with families from Unit 5 and other community members. It has somehow landed on the coldest day in the spring for the last 2 consecutive days, and I know Dr. Weichel is nodding, and any of you that were in attendance, it was a fairly cold day. Those pictures don't do it justice, but despite that, we had about 500 registrants come out and a couple hundred runners, and we raised a good deal of money for the district on that day for the foundation, about $20,000 in net on that day, and a year ago when we first established this, we were half of that, and so already we're seeing momentum, and we think that this can really build to be an annual tradition, especially if the weather ever gets over 42 degrees with 30-mile-an-hour gusts. We're also continuing with the family-friendly theme. We're going to try to do an outdoor movie night in October. That'll be at Normal Community High School at 7 p.m., so come on out, tell all your friends. We're going to show Hotel Transylvania. So for anybody with kids, you've probably seen that 26 times, but a 27th is just as good. You'll know all the lines, so it'll be fun. But another great opportunity for folks to come out, enjoy a nice family-friendly atmosphere, and support the district. We are looking to start a new tradition beginning with this February's 365 breakfast, so named because we'd like attendees to donate $1 a day as a starting point for donations to the district. And there'll be lots of sponsorship opportunities as well, which is a big part of our success so far in some of our fundraising events, is some of the community partners and others that underwrite some of these efforts. And so we'll be giving you more information as we go forward about the breakfast that we plan to host in February. We are starting to increase communication with families and stakeholders across the district as well, with a pretty regular communication in the form of an e-newsletter that's going out quarterly. We're giving updates from different members of the board, some fundraising updates regarding recent activities, some of the things we've been able to fund in the district, and really just building awareness for the foundation, as well as maybe asking for financial support here and there when appropriate. And then lastly, this could have just as easily fit in the good news portion of tonight's proceedings, because we're pleased to say that we have funded 3 scholarships for the first time this year, looking to make this an annual project and potentially even grow that. But a $1,000 scholarship for graduates of Normal Community, Normal West, and Eugene Field. And I believe we have a couple of those recipients with us tonight. So if Aislinn Bossard, Tyler Chapman, and or Megan Gabor is here, please join me up here at the podium. Everyone can clap for them.
Did I say that right, Megan?
Correction, it's Megan Gaber. I know I pronounced Tyler Chapman correctly, though. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about these two esteemed recipients of our first-year scholarship. So we'll start with Tyler. Tyler is a graduating senior from Normal Community High School. He was a Big 12 scholar athlete, an Illinois Student Assistance Commission state scholar, played soccer, cross country, ran track and field. He was a senior staff reporter for the NCHS Ink Spot. Was a member of NCHS Young Life, Christian Youth Fellowship. I'm not going to read the rest of this because we're on a time schedule, but Tyler is going to attend the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign for social work, plans to go on and get his master's in social work, and then pursue a career as a school social worker. So Tyler Chapman from Normal Community. Congratulations, Tyler. And Megan Gaber from Normal West. Megan is an honor roll student. She was the recipient of the Foreign Language Award. She's a member of Spanish Honor Society. She was in the BACC Technical Honor Society, a BACC CNA Student of the Year, Mock Trial, Nuestra Voz, Spanish Club, Promise Council, and Best Buddies. And in the same way, I'm going to curtail her resume for the sake of time. But Megan is coming to Illinois State University, majoring in nursing and minoring in Spanish. So we were able to keep her in town, which is a good thing. But congratulations to Megan as well.
I got something for both of you.
Okay, and what you guys care most about is the check. It's in the mail, I promise. So $1,000 scholarship is on its way, along with a certificate suitable for framing. But in the interim, we've got these nice medals for you. So why don't I do the honors here, Tyler? Congratulations. Yep, and Megan. Congratulations. Very good. Why don't you guys turn around in case anybody wants to get a photo? And that concludes my remarks. I wanted to end with a bang. So we will plan to report out to you a little bit more regularly, but we're really excited about the direction that we're going, and we look forward to working with the district going forward. So thanks so much.
We should ask, are there any questions for Jeff and Jeremy is Mr. Dehigh is our board representative on the foundation. He's pretty new to that position, so we won't put him on the spot yet, but he did attend his first meeting. Are there any questions?
I just wanted to thank Jeff for his amazing leadership, and we are lucky to have him leading this charge. And it's great to see Unit 5 so positively represented in our community thanks to the work of the foundation. I think the work that you're doing is really building a Unit 5 brand a little bit more in the community behind some very positive things, and so it's very exciting to see. So thank you for your leadership, and we look forward to more great news.
One of the things as we adjusted the board makeup was we really wanted to have tentacles into the community. You know, Mr. Mavros is the director of admissions at Illinois State. Thus, he's happy you're staying in town. But we have business leaders, community leaders in lots of different areas, and that was really important, we felt, to kind of, you know, I hate to use building our foundation, but building our foundation for the foundation. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Megan, Tyler, I just want to also say congratulations, Jeff. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Tyler and Megan, if you have people that came with you who have supported you in this process, we're going to ask them to stand and be recognized as well. Thank you. Our next item of business is the Equity Action Plan for Quarter 4. Dr. Shelvin.
Good evening, and thank you. Thank you to the board and Dr. Weichel for an opportunity to share some of the updates for our Equity Action Plan. I'm very pleased to have our strand leaders here with me today, because as you all know, this is a multi-person effort across the district. Since this is our first opportunity to share and update with our current board, we will share some descriptive information as we go along, and then we'll share a bit of information about each area of focus. So I'll start with our anchoring statements. You see the Board of Education statement is listed first. Excuse me. The Unified Board of Education, 1 year ago tomorrow, adopted this statement, and the statement says this: the Unified Board of Education is committed to dismantling systemic barriers to learning and educational success for every student. In doing so, excuse me, board members pledge to pursue educational equity and excellence for all and empower a climate and culture of respect for students, families, and staff. This commitment advances Unified's mission, philosophy, and the Equity Action Plan. Next to it, you see the District Equity Leadership Team Equity Statement. That's just a snippet of the statement. It's spelled out with details and bullet points and objectives on our website. I say that as a teaser to drive you all to our website to see more information about what we do. As a District Equity Leadership Team, we adopted the Teaching for Equity framework, which underlies some of our work. So in addition to our board statement, our district statement, we also use the scientific foundation of the Teaching for Equity framework, and then use all of those to kind of support where we move with our Equity Action Plan. So our Equity Action Plan is divided into 5 areas or strands. Here you see the strands are listed, and I'll have the strand leaders come up. They'll share a bit about their strand, some of the objectives. We have again, as a teaser, we have the Equity Action Plan listed along with many, many pages of data to support the action plan on the website. So as our strand leaders come up, they will share a bit about some of the objectives that they put in place for this year, some highlights about some things that they're proud of accomplishing this year. And then at the end, I'll give a brief summary of what we expect to accomplish in the coming year, some of our goals, and where our movement is. And then we'll ask you if you have any questions. So we'll start with our system strand, and we'll have Dr. Weichel come up and share. Or you stand there to share. You can stay there to
here and share. But if you have the clicker, I may need you to.
I'm happy to click.
Thank you. So I have the opportunity to work with the system strand, and part of our goal is to ensure a systemic and continuous development towards advancing equity within all policies, processes, procedures, initiative, decision-making, and fiscal responsibilities. So we're trying to look at everything through that equity lens. And so there are a number of people that participate as far as strand members: Chris Pennington, Monica Wilkes, Cameo Williams, Mariana Nicasio, and myself. So a couple of highlights that we are proud of this year. One of the objectives was to develop some short-term and long-term plans to recruit and retain a qualified and diverse staff. And so this year we were able to put together an affinity group toolkit, which will really be able to help affinity groups and staff members that volunteer to serve as kind of a leader for that group, to kind of give them a guide in order to best lead that group. And so we finished that in December, and then we held a kickoff event for any staff members across the district interested in joining an affinity group or interest group in March of 2023. And we came up with the interest groups and affinity groups based on a survey that we did with staff prior to identifying those groups of most that were most of interest to our staff. So we know that we, during our staff orientations this year, we need to let new staff know about these opportunities, and then we'll need to inform staff again at the kickoff event at the beginning of the school year, so that way those affinity groups can really take hold and kind of run and meet as often as they decide that they want to. The next item is to review policies, board policies and procedures through an equity lens. And so Dr. Shelvin and some others found an equitable policy review protocol. And so she shared that with us during our parent-teacher behavior advisory group, as well as our board policy committee. And so I know for myself, who serves on both of those committees, I like to keep that in my file folder, so when we meet, I can always have those in front of me and kind of keep that in mind. So we're always trying to look at, who does this impact? How does it impact them? Are there groups that maybe we haven't considered, or any possible impact that we haven't thought about? So that is certainly a highlight for us. Other items would include the board adopting a statement last summer regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion. That was a goal from the 21-22 school year. We incorporated the district DEI statement in all trainings that we provided as staff throughout the school year, so they continually saw that. We did develop the affinity group toolkit. We held our kickoff, as I said, and conducted an interest survey. We utilized the equitable policy review protocol on various committees. And then we're always looking to add diverse staff to our teaching, our support staff in all of our buildings. And so we purposely went out and recruited some staff earlier than normal this year to just continue to build that diverse staff. And with fewer people entering the field of education, that in itself can be a challenge. And when we look at the lack of candidates going into education, of candidates who speak a language other than English, candidates, whether they be teachers, teaching assistants, special education staff, who maybe are not white, Caucasian, who maybe have different experiences than what many of our staff have, those individuals are really hard to find. And districts across not only Illinois, but across the U.S., we're all competing towards that same group of candidates. And so I'm extremely proud of the efforts of our building staff and district staff to really recruit some diverse staff members who are highly talented. So we look forward to them joining us for next school year.
Thank you, Dr. Weichel. And next we'll have Mobaki and Maggie Lakebrink come up and talk about our next strands.
Hello, Maggie and I are here to talk to you tonight about teaching and learning and the professional development strand. The teaching and learning strand really focuses on how we're going to embed that equity-driven pedagogy in our curriculum, our resources, our instructional approaches, and then the PD strand really works on how we're going to provide PD to all our staff members. So members of the teaching and learning strand are Maggie and myself, Dan Lamboli, Darren Cooper, Julie Hagler, who's back here, Corey Byrne, and Alyssa Reed. And the professional development strand, I'm going to go back and forth between the two, and then Maggie's going to talk about the highlights. The professional development strand is represented by Michelle Lamboli, Courtney McClure, Leslie Davenport, and Angie Cadron. And I would be remiss without saying we have an amazing task force of educators that develop all the training, and then we have an amazing group of trainers that train in all the buildings. So our staff is so integral in all the PD that we're providing. But this year we've really focused on professional development, training, going deeper with the identity, microaggressions, and biases, and then also giving teachers a framework, staff a framework of how to analyze data through that equity lens. So I'm going to just go ahead and jump to the highlights. Oh, one thing before I get to the highlights, because it's not on the page, the PD strand really worked on a plan to onboard all new staff members who haven't been a part of this amazing training for the past 2 years. So during new teacher orientation, all our new staff are onboarded and receive training. And then if staff are hired throughout the year, we have training that they partake in through a video. So that is just an amazing thing that the PD strand has put into place.
So as Dr. Shelvin had mentioned, we selected that Teaching for Equity framework, and the task force was able to develop trainings that went along the lines of that framework and provide those trainings at Institute Days this fall. And then we continued that work, providing and creating additional trainings on cycles of inquiry and how to actually use the data we have in our EduClimber system and analyze that data. That work will continue this next year. We just got our feet wet with that. It's a lot for our staff to look at all that data. So we want to make sure they know what to do with it and how that leads to more equitable practices in their spaces at school. We developed trainings, again, like she said, on identity, bias, microaggressions, furthered that work that we have done already. And, you know, we have trained 1,187 staff, both certified, paraprofessionals, classified staff. So a lot of time and effort went into developing those trainings, training our trainers, make sure they were comfortable with that material, knew how to respond to questions, and were able to take that into the buildings to make it meaningful, as well as providing specific trainings for groups like our EOPs, custodial staff, maintenance, so that this applies to everybody, not just the classroom teachers.
And I think it's really important also to note that oftentimes there's so much research out there that when you go to a one-time sit and get training, you maybe take back 20% of what you learn. These trainings are continuous, and there's application built in, and they're ongoing. So when Maggie says, you know, all these staff we train, that's over the course of every institute. We're training almost 1,200 staff members. So I'm so proud of this team, and we couldn't do it without the staff that are hugely invested in being task force members and trainers as well. All right.
And next we'll bring up Mrs. Terry Peoples, who will share with us a bit about our Student Voice Climate and Culture Group.
Good evening. I would like to talk to you guys about the students. We have, well, I can just read it, to consistently seek student feedback and experiences of an organizational culture and climate. So what we did is we tried to look at our students and give them that voice so that they would feel invested in decisions that are made for our district that relate to them. I'm very happy to work with Sylvester Davis, Christine Ellis, and Rachel Evans on this. Oh, goodness. I did this at the last board meeting. Where? This one? Okay, got it. All right. We have 2 goals that we started off with, and there's still things that we're working with. 3.1, we feel like we had a lot of success with. We were able to create a district-level student equity advisory team, and that team has a very loud voice. They have a lot to say to us. So we do feel very happy to have that done. We're hoping to expand and get some of our elementary voices in there this next school year. Got it? Nope, got it. I don't know why you gave me this thing. 3.2 is the one that's ongoing right now. We gave the students this voice, and I have to tell you, we have 25, I think, students in. We were at 95% attendance. So our kids did not want to miss one of these meetings. We had 3 meetings, and we focused on many different things. At some point, we had to reel the kids kind of back in because they just have a lot that they want to talk about. And giving them that space and that free space to have those conversations. Once we opened that door, it was very hard to get our meetings to a standstill, and where we were just, nobody was talking. So what we're doing now is, now that the students feel comfortable, now that they've seen each other face to face and not through the Google thing. We know now that with that door open, we need to start focusing on the work of how do we focus on the racial and subgroup discipline, disproportionality, and how do we develop plans that the students feel like they have a vested interest in because they helped make those decisions. We now need to do that. So that's why we put ongoing for that one, because our students are very, very interested in being a part of this work. And we hope to, like I said, bring some elementary voices in. We have 6th through 12th right now. And like I said, they're very boisterous. And I can't wait to see what we'll bring next year, because they're not done. They are not done by any means.
I'll just add on that you heard Dr. Weichel talk about our Freedom School program. One of the elements of Freedom School is an intergenerational approach to staffing. And so some of our SEAT students are staffed this summer with our Freedom School program because they have that vested interest in social justice and in seeing us move forward as a district. So I'm just so thrilled. They are fantastic. So high school students who are working in the summer in our summer program. And next we will share some information about Family and Community as Agency, as we have Mrs. Gina Tenuta coming up to share a bit about that group, that strand.
What button do I hit again? All right, Gina Tenuta, thank you for having me to talk about Family and Community as Agency for the last strand. Our goal is to partner with all families in the community for authentic opportunities to serve the students, the school, and the district. Myself, Dana Brown, Brian Thomas, and Susan Steinbach all work together on this strand. Throughout the year, we had set some objectives, and some we have met and some that are ongoing. One for 5.4 was to hire additional family coordinators, and that was specifically within the high schools. That is something that we did meet this school year. And as we look at the needs of buildings and as they change and shift, we are also looking at how we can support those students and families within those schools by looking at how family coordinators are utilized. In 5.1, our goal was to translate essential documents, especially within our registration questionnaires, preferred primary language, and then also looking at our handbooks. One of the key ways we thought would be a great way to address this is using the technology that we already have in place for our families, our cell phones, computers, and so we have put into place a kind of guide on how to use the technology that you already have in your hand to translate documents that we have put out. 5.1 is ongoing, and this kind of aligns with some of the other strands, creating a professional development plan for EOPs, principals, teachers, and custodians, and how we can continue to build those relationships with families and build really those intentional partnerships that they can collaborate with us on. And then our last one that I would like to share is our goal to create a district equity and diversity monthly message schedule, and that would be to send out to families, staff, and students. So while we created that plan for this year, next year would be when we would roll that out. Some highlights from our strand is that we continue to celebrate the culture, diversity, and inclusion of our students and their families throughout the year. We created a monthly message schedule for district ideas for social media, the building level resources for staff to utilize throughout the month, and then month celebrations that we would like to share. We continue to hold purposeful conversations to plan the most effective ways to highlight our wonderful student diversity here in Unit 5. Thank you.
Thanks, and I will just highlight Family and Community as Agency. One of the things that I'm very excited is that when they were looking at the use of technology, they went to our families and asked, what's the best way to use technology? We don't have the capacity at this point in time to translate every single bit of information that goes out to our families. but we do know how to prioritize. So it was a serious conversation that we had about how to prioritize documents, and then what documents could we use technology to translate, and what documents really, really, really needed that human touch so that the translation was very clear and very authentic. So I appreciate them for not just moving forward with, oh, just use Google Translate for everything, but really to be intentional about talking to our community and our families about what was really effective and essential to translate. In our equity action planning, if you've seen the document can be quite daunting. So our strand leaders have shared snippets about what we have done over this year. When we look ahead to 23-24, these are a few of the things that we'd like to do. You've heard us talk a little bit more, you kind of maybe heard snippets of this, about being intentional about the data we collect and the utility of that data and how we move forward with, okay, we know better, now we can do better. One area where we'll do that is with our systems strand, where we are really working to make sure that any information that we identify, we're collecting data. So if we're looking at our affinity groups, who's using the toolkit, who has access to the toolkit. We also want to make sure that you all may recall this, we created a full process for how we assign or recruit the district equity leadership team. And in 23-24, we'll have our new team identified, because we'll have our first set of folks who are rolling off and a new group of folks coming on. In the teaching and learning strand and in professional learning strand, you heard our strand leaders talk about how intentional they want to be with training, but some of the intentionality is not just around the content of the training, but the format of the training, and then how we utilize the feedback we get from the training. I was in a meeting earlier today, and one of the staff leaned over and said how they appreciated the trainings that have been happening the last 2 years. And I was kind of like, oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. Tell me what you like. And what the staff person said is that they like that there's a little bit of review and there's a little bit of new. So we'll continue to do that. And that is something that if you read through the thousands of comments we get, like I do, you'll see that come up over and over again. Additionally, we want to make sure that we're documenting attendance for the equity training so that we know how many people attended, but we want to continue to look at which staff are attending, where's their need for additional training or professional development. Student voice, climate, and culture, you heard a little bit of information about our plan to move forward to identify ways that our elementary students can share their concerns around equity. We also want to make sure that the work that is happening within our seat is shared more broadly. And then lastly, family and community as agency will continue to address and quantify the impact of those family coordinators, really start to formalize and standardize some of the messaging about DEI work so that we are very intentional about it. And I wanted to end just with some of our student self-portraits. When we think about diversity, equity, and inclusion work, this is what it's about. It's about students being able to show and display who they are within themselves and not be afraid. When we started this project with the students we were working with, the first kind of comments were, I don't know how to draw, I'm not good at art, I can't do this. And when we ended, the students wanted to share their work with their families. They wanted to display them. We had to buy easels for them to display them. That is what our DEI work is about each student coming in and being able to show who they are and feeling comfortable and confident in doing that. And so I share that as a thank you to our board, the past board, the current board. I appreciate very wholeheartedly your support of Dr. Weichel. I am on calls at least weekly with other folks in this position who do not have that same support. And it makes the work so much harder when you don't have that support of your board and of your superintendent and your administrative team. This is not easy. These conversations are not easy. And so the fact that you are supporting us in doing that is very important. And I know that there's pushback and I know that there's emails, but I appreciate you for standing up and allowing our students to be able to show this. As Maggie said, I appreciate the staff in this district who have the hard conversations. they are getting, emails and messages and FOIA requests, and they are being transparent and honest about what they believe about our young people. And so I commend you all for doing this work, and I hope that we can continue to move forward with our equity action plan. So thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Shelvin. Are there any questions from, don't go anywhere. Questions from the board?
Comment. I'd like to direct this to Dr. Weichel, Dr. Shelvin, and the Strand leaders that are here. I had an opportunity to attend the June 6th training, and I had a lot of good key takeaways. Just real quick, first having the outside expertise, Dr. Dubai. Is that
Dubiel?
Dubiel,
Yep,
okay.
yeah.
So having that outside expertise available to help with staff development, I thought was fantastic. Also, what's really important to me is the work that that DELT is doing. I want to thank all of you all, the Strand leaders, Dr. Weichel, Dr. Shelvin, for understanding how important the connection is with this work and creating positive student outcomes. And you hinted to this, Dr. Shelvin, but particularly during a time with the political environment where some would maybe suggest that the work isn't important or impactful to the larger student body. And so I just want to commend the district for the investment in this because it helps everyone. And so I just wanted to share those comments.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Mark, yeah.
Dr. Weichel, you might be able to answer this. Could you elaborate on what the Affinity Group Toolkit is? I wasn't familiar with that.
Sure. So it's really just a resource and guide for those affinity group leaders to be able to use as a resource. We looked at a variety of ways to do the affinity groups, and where we landed is that the affinity group should be led by staff, not district run, so that way each group can decide how they want it to look, how frequent they want to meet, and that way they don't feel like the district, right? Even though we're all the district is trying to control how they operate. And so it really serves as a resource because some people willingly say, yes, I'll be that leader or co-facilitator, and others need like maybe a little nudge to do that. And so if we can provide a resource, it's really just to be helpful.
Thank you. I was just also going to say real quick, thank you so much for your dedication, Dr. Shelvin and Dr. Weichel, on this initiative. I am a big champion of diversity, equity, inclusion in the workplace, and this is kind of a unique situation where it's a workplace and also affects our community long term. And so building the confidence now and helping those kids get that identity, that foundation will help them weather storms later in life, help them become stronger and more functional human beings. So keep up the great work. And I just want to say Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
I echo Mark and Alex, Dr. Shelvin, Dr. Weichel, and to our Strand leaders, thank you so much for, number one, keeping this in front of us on a regular cadence, sharing the progress. I would like to commend each and every one of you for your dedication and your effort in really being intentional about implementing the plan. I remember when we first started this journey and the data, and I'm excited I know at some point we're gonna even see more data, but I do remember when we started this journey and the excitement and the passion that you and your team showed about even getting this started, and then feeling that same exact passion today through all of the just share outs from East Strand Group is just extremely appreciated. And I know that this is going to continue to generate those positive outcomes that we're looking for all of our students. And, just even looking at, the board will know I'm ride or die for my students, for all of the students in this district. I'm ride or die for our educators, and for district climate and culture. And I'm screaming to the top of my lungs. And I know sometimes it's very, very, very uncomfortable when I ask questions, when I push a little, but it's all because I want students not to only feel recognized and feel like they belong on their recognition month. I want them to feel recognized and that they belong 365 days of the year, every year. And the work that we're doing is really, really, really contributing to that. So thank you very much, and thank you very much also for just restating the board equity statement. When we talk about the Unified Board of Education is committed to dismantling systemic barriers to learning and educational success for every student. In doing so, board members pledge to pursue educational excellence, equity for all, and empower a climate and a culture of respect for students, families, and staff. This commitment advances Unit 5's mission, philosophy, and equity action plan approved June 15, 2022. You still have our commitment. You still have our commitment and support. Thank you.
I'd just like to reference that this work goes such a long way in how it impacts our school culture and our tolerance, appreciation, acceptance, love for each individual, staff or student. And so I think this speaks to some of what we've heard earlier tonight, that work is being done and is being done at a very intentional level to impact those things, the building culture, the staff culture, staff awareness, reviewing policies, all of those things were mentioned here tonight in this update. So I want to thank you for doing that work. We're never perfect, but we are always working to improve and do better, and that's why I so appreciate about the work that you're leading. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you so much, Dr. Shelvin.
Thank you.
Appreciate the update. Our next report is requests for information pursuant to the Illinois Freedom of Information Act. I'll turn that over to Kurt.
Thank you. Tonight we have a couple responses to report out for requests under the Illinois Freedom of Information Act since our last board meeting. Local Labs made a request, and we responded with the information on May 30th, 2023, and we received a request from Chris Masick and responded to that on May 31st.
Okay, thanks so much. Our action item for the evening is to adopt the amended budget, which we had a public hearing for earlier tonight. And so at this time, I'll entertain any motion.
Madam President, I move to adopt the amended budget resolution for McLean County Unit District Number 5, McLean and Woodford counties for the 22-23 school year.
And can I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Can I have a vote?
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Dehy,
Yes.
Gosier,
Yes.
Roser,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Pyle.
Yes. All right. In addition, we have an action item to authorize the superintendent to negotiate and enter into a solar power agreement. I'll also look for a motion on that item.
Madam President, I move to authorize the superintendent to negotiate and enter into solar power purchase agreements for Northport Elementary School, transportation, and the warehouse.
And is there a second?
Second.
Before we take the vote, are there any other questions or comments regarding this matter? Then can I have a vote, please?
Adams,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Dehy,
Yes.
Gosier,
Yes.
Roser,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Pyle.
Yes. Thank Thank you. Now we'll move to the consent agenda. Dr. Weichel.
Madam President, I present the following items for consent tonight: approval of minutes, personnel matters, payment of bills and payroll, approve finance department reports, approve board policies, administrative procedures, and exhibits, approve request for authorization to use fire prevention and safety funds, approve overnight trip request, approve 23-24 school improvement plans for Cedar and Oakdale Elementary, approve resolution of interest earned for the 2022-23 school year, approve 2023-24 district insurance renewals, approve employee group medical and dental renewal for 2023-24, approve bread bids, approve 3-year agreement with Arbiter Sports for Arbiter Pay, July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2026. Appoint Martin Hickman as treasurer for the district for the pay period, or for the period of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. Appoint Emily Sargent as clerk for the board for the district for the period of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024.
Thank you. And can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam President, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Can I have a vote, please?
Adams?
Yes.
Pullman?
Yes.
Dehy?
Yes.
Gosier?
Yes.
Roser?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. And finally, we have board representative committee reports, announcement, and comments. This evening, I'm going to start with Mr. Adams, if that's okay.
So just to give some updates and also some recognitions and shout-outs, participated in the first facilities committee meeting back in May 19th. Very impressed with the bandwidth and capacity of such limited staff and resources. It was great to start my first committee assignment. Thank you, Jeremy and Dr. Weichel, for the warm welcome. Next, I also want to say that I've met with Amy recently to discuss transition of the committee assignment for Beyond the Books Foundation. Very excited to serve in that capacity. I really hope to help as much as I can, honestly. I think it's a wonderful initiative, a great way for our teachers to feel supported and really feel like they have the opportunity to implement their lessons. And then I will also say a shout out to Sophie Feeney and Ashley Wilcox from Unit 5 graduates for being selected for the IBCA All-State 3A, 4A basketball earlier this month. I was very impressed. Excellent job. Really want to make a shout out there for Unit 5 Pride as well. And then Normal West received a $1,500 grant for the revamped journalism program and student newspaper from Illinois Farm Bureau and Illinois Press Foundation. Very impressed by that. And then obviously it's already been mentioned, but I am a big champion of LGBTQIA Pride. It is a recognition of June as Pride Month. First Pride flag was designed by artist Gilbert Baker in 1978. And then I also have a quote, "Hope will never be silent," from Harvey Milk, LGBTQIA activist. I think it's very important that we continue to keep that discussions going, make sure our students have the resources that they need to feel heard. So I'm looking forward to continuing the discussions of DEI as well. I'm really glad to see the amazing work that our district is doing, and I look forward to seeing what data and report comes out next. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Well said. Congratulations to Amy, Kelly, and Monica on your new roles. I love good news. And congrats. Yeah. I was thinking about that as the introduction. I was like, how ironic that we have an Amy and a Kelly that's joining. Put on your new roles as at Parkside and Carlock, to be specific. All right, and Monica is HR Director. Congratulations. I also just wanted to give a quick update. I'm on 3 committees: policy, Town of Normal, I'm aligned to, and curriculum. And just kind of just sharing for awareness that I had an opportunity to connect with Dr. Weichel, just really more around alignment conversations to understand some of the top priorities or things that we want to focus on. And so just had some good dialogue and some ideas there. So just look forward to continuing on policy with Kurt. He's done a fantastic job, and continuing to and to start the Town of Normal and curriculum. So I will continue to report on that. We also have just a quick update, have been really making some great progress in negotiations. And again, thank you to the union and to Kurt and everyone involved for the dedication and the time spent to get to where we need to be. Very much so appreciate it.
All right. Quick committee updates. We met Finance Committee last week. We discussed some of the items that we saw on the consent agenda tonight, including some of Unit 5's partnerships with third-party processors. And we also talked about upcoming year's budgets. Also, the McLean County Regional Planning Commission has just canceled their upcoming meeting, which is a standing meeting every first Wednesday of every month. For those in the public interested, the July meeting will be canceled. We will resume that first Wednesday in August as our next planning meeting. In addition to that, it's great to see the fruit of all the facilities work paying off today in the good news reports with Parkside Elementary's great news. So I think one of the board members has to continue the shout outs to Jonah's team. So I'm not looking to pick up that mantle, but I'll do it right now. So congratulations to all involved. And it's great to know really the benefit to all those participating in the building or working, attending at the building, just improved quality, air quality, et cetera, especially at the reduced price. And then greatly appreciate the quarterly update on the EAP. I always find something new or fascinated by different aspects. The thing this time that really stuck with me is how we're starting to turn SEAT in the upcoming year into more action. So now that they're becoming more familiar with the roles, the focus on the action plan, I think that's great. And I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to have some of those students come before the board, present their ideas and those plans. It's unique. I know, Mr. Adams, you mentioned how it's not often that you also get to have students participating in this process. It's very fitting in an academic setting that they're not only contributing to the environment, but there's also underlying learning and leadership development built into that. And that's really one of the key pieces or byproducts that's going to come out of this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing pay off. So thank you for all the hard work, everyone.
All right, I have a couple committee updates here. Mark touched on already. We had a facilities meeting on May 19th. We got Alpha Controls and Campus Optimizer update, which we get pretty regularly, and the savings that we've achieved there was reviewed with us. We got an update on the Oakdale restroom remodeling project that was approved, I think, at the last board meeting. They started that, or were supposed to start on June 5th, and I've already asked for a field trip once that's done for the board so we can go out and see that. The West Fire Panel had started actually the day of our board meeting, or excuse me, of our facilities meeting. And if you've been associated or been out with West, you know the issues that they've had with the fire panel, so it'll be good to get that updated. And then they also gave us an update on the summer projects. As Dr. Weichel said earlier, 115 projects being completed in 48 days over the summer. A lot of work there. And then also thank you to Tommy for coming out and doing the Energy Star presentation today. Look forward to getting a few more of those going, and I don't know the exact number now. I know Joe knows that. How many do we have now for? I'm going to confirm, and I don't want to say. Okay, I won't put you on the spot. Well, very much in double digits. Well, I know we're very much in double digits. I know we're the goal is to have them all Energy Star, and I know you guys are doing great work to move towards that. We did have the Unit 5 Educational Foundation Board meeting on the 7th of June. That was my first one. Jeff and Dana gave the presentation today, so not a whole lot for me to add, but it was a pleasure to meet that team, and I'm excited to be a part of that. And really the big takeaway from that was the significant improvement from year 1 to year 2 on the Unit 5K. $20,000 profit in year 2 was a nice win. Also, on the scholarships, congratulations to the students that earned those scholarships. And then last thing, there's one more thing I do want to say. Congratulations to the new people, the new roles, or change in roles, or new people that have joined that were introduced earlier. And then lastly, for the public commenters, I say this quite frequently at our meetings, we appreciate you coming here. It's an opportunity for us to hear from the community. I know we don't engage in conversation as part of how we do that, but it's important for our community to come out and talk to us and share their thoughts and concerns, and we do listen, we do hear them. I know that probably doesn't come across in this meeting and in this format, but we do hear them, and we do appreciate them coming and sharing their thoughts with us.
Thanks, Jeremy. I have one update in addition to Mark's Beyond the Books Educational Foundation orientation training that we did. There was the final meeting of the Beyond the Books Foundation of the school year. They did appoint new directors to the board, and there was one new Unit 5 director appointed. That person is Janet Hood. So we welcome Janet to the Beyond the Books Educational Foundation Board and look forward to the work that group does in the next year. And that's all I've got. So thanks.
Couple of things for me. I attended the Finance Committee meeting. I won't go into those details Stan mentioned earlier. Also, I attended the June 8th Illinois Association of School Boards meeting, so that was very insightful for me. I was nominated as the resolutions chair, so I look forward to being a voice from Unit 5 and bringing back key learnings as I immerse myself into that work. Also, as part of my community engagement assignment, I was invited to visit at Eugene Field School. Very, very enlightening to me. So I've passed by that school many times, both via car, via bike, but to see the inside, and I'll just quickly share, how they're training the students in essentially a lab environment was very eye-opening to me. And I got to see firsthand the work that that staff over there is doing. And so it's just one of those many things that informs me about all of the good things the district has going and some of the offerings that maybe the community may not be aware of. So I want to acknowledge that. I'm also aware of needs that they have to keep their VTAP program functioning with transportation and staffing. So it was just good to see the outcome of what's happening at that school. And then just a couple of acknowledgments. First, congratulations to on the new roles, Amy, Kelly, and Monica. So congratulations. And then on the scholarship front, the rest of my acknowledgments. First, congratulations to the students who won the Unit 5 Educational Foundation scholarships. Also want to acknowledge and thank Dr. Weichel for supporting the mentoring and providing scholarships event maps where many Unit 5 students received scholarships, so thank you for that. And then finally, as it relates to scholarships, I do want to acknowledge and congratulate Dana Brown for being recognized at the scholarship gala that was hosted by the men of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Each scholarship represents an opportunity for a student to further improve themselves. And with the training that they get at Unit 5, I just think they're positioned well, and have that additional funding makes a difference. So I just wanted to share that.
And finally, I'll echo the sentiments of my fellow board members in terms of welcoming, congratulations, thanks, and appreciation for our Dell team and for the presentations tonight. Things that I'd like to simply share just in terms of comments and updates. I had the opportunity yesterday to participate in the large member district board president quarterly meeting. We had a nice presentation by the ISB chair of the board. As part of that presentation and kind of executive updates about what's happening around the state, he reminded us that many boards across the state of Illinois are conducting their board evaluations. That is a routine part of our board, is to evaluate ourselves, particularly when we have new members coming on. And so that is a reminder that our board will undergo their self-evaluation as kind of part of our routine practice on Thursday, July 30th, and that is conducted by our IASB representative. So we welcome Retha to come and conduct that with us. In addition, the Superintendent Evaluation Committee is wrapping up for the end of this academic year. And that's the extent of my updates for this evening. At this time, the board does intend to return to closed session. I will ask for a motion to that, but wanted to let our audience know that there is no action that will come out of the closed session. And so at this time, I will accept a motion to return to closed session.
Madam President, I move to return to closed session to discuss the following matters according to the exceptions provided in the Open Meetings Act and specified as follows. 2C1, the employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity, and 2C2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or the representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Amy. And if I could get a vote, please, to return to closed session.
Yes.
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 Yes, it is. It is 8:07. We are going to recess, give the opportunity for folks to take a short break. Again, there will be no action coming out of closed session, but let's plan to resume at 8:20. Yes, and during this small break, I need everybody's signatures on the amended